Who lives your life when you're on autopilot? Buddhism's view. Chapter 1. The universe never repeats itself, but you might. You can wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, put on your clothes, check your phone, walk to the same place, and not remember a single detail of what you just did. You may have eaten your breakfast, but couldn't say what it tasted like. You may have spoken to someone, but only half listened because your mind was already racing ahead. If someone asked you, "What was the sky like this morning?" you might not know. Not because you were busy, but because you weren't really there. This way of living is what many people call autopilot, and it's more common than we think. You don't need to be lazy or careless to fall into it. In fact, some of the most hardworking people spend their lives this way, functioning, producing, even smiling, without actually feeling awake inside. Scientists have a name for this. It's called the default mode network, a part of your brain that activates when you're not focused on the present. It pulls you into memories, worries, and imagination. It helps save energy, but it also keeps you trapped. It doesn't notice the soft light on the floor or the sound of leaves in the wind. Instead, it loops familiar thoughts again and again. What went wrong yesterday? What could go wrong tomorrow? And slowly, without even meaning to, you begin to live a life that has already passed or hasn't arrived yet. The Buddha saw this over 2,500 years ago. He used a different word, heedlessness, and he didn't mean it as an insult. He meant it as a danger. In the Dhammapada, he said clearly, "Heedlessness is the path to death. Heedfulness is the path to life." When you live without noticing, without truly being present, you miss the only place where life ever happens, here and now. And when that happens, something inside you quietly dies. Not your body, but your aliveness. You become a shadow walking through your own day. This is not just poetry. It's real. Think of how many conversations you've had where your mind was elsewhere. How many meals you've tasted with only your mouth, not your full attention. How many sunrises you've missed while staring into a screen. It's not because you don't care, it's because something in you fell asleep. Meanwhile, the universe never repeats itself. It's constantly moving, constantly changing. A tree never grows the same way twice. The clouds never return in the same shape. No river ever flows backward. Even the stars above us shift slightly every night. Nature has no pause button. Everything is in motion. Everything is alive. So then we have to ask, if the world outside never repeats, why do we repeat inside? Why do we think the same thoughts, feel the same reactions, live the same patterns? Why does someone say one thing, and we already know what we'll feel, what we'll say, how we'll act? Why does fear return before we even look around? Why does anger visit before we even ask, what's really going on? Maybe the problem isn't that life is boring. Maybe the problem is we're not really here to notice how fresh each moment is. And when we live this way, cycling through reactions and routines while everything around us continues to flow forward, it's not just that we miss beauty. We lose something deeper, the chance to grow. Because nothing stuck in repetition can ever transform. So the question is no longer just, why do I live on autopilot? The deeper question is, if I'm stuck repeating, what am I becoming? Chapter 2. Every moment you forget, you are reborn into your past. Sometimes we think we're just tired, just busy, just going through the motions. But what's really happening is deeper than that. We're not just drifting, we're being reborn into versions of ourselves we don't even notice. There's a reason why you get angry at the same things, speak in the same tone, or feel the same shame, even when the world around you has changed. That's not coincidence. That's memory, becoming identity. It's yesterday, dressing up as today. In Buddhism, rebirth doesn't only happen when the body dies. It happens every time the mind forgets itself. Every moment we react without awareness, we bring the past back to life. And not the good parts. Usually, it's the fear, the old anger, the wound we never spoke about. Someone bumps into you on the street. Before you can breathe, you snap. But the person in front of you isn't the real trigger. What triggered you is a feeling you've carried for years, maybe since childhood. You were ignored. You were left out. You weren't heard. Now, even a stranger brushing your shoulder becomes a threat to your identity. You react. But the one reacting isn't the adult standing there. It's the child inside you who still thinks it's not safe to be ignored. In that moment, you're not living your life. You're replaying someone else's fear, locked in your body. You are being reborn into your pain. And it happens again tomorrow. And the day after. Carl Jung, a Western psychologist who understood the shadow side of human nature, said this clearly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. He's not saying this to sound clever. He's saying, the pain you don't face becomes the path you keep walking, over and over. It's like wearing the same worn-out shoes every morning. They don't fit. They cause blisters, but they're familiar. And because of that, they feel like you. But what if those shoes, your habits, your moods, your reactions, weren't truly yours? What if they were just what you happened to pick up? Because you forgot to notice you had a choice. The Buddha put it very clearly. By yourself is evil done. By yourself is one defiled. By yourself is evil left undone. By yourself is one purified. He didn't say others create your suffering. He didn't say you're broken. He said, it's in your own hands. In every breath, every thought, every moment you remember yourself. So what's the cost of forgetting? The cost is your life, not your heartbeat, not your job, but your presence, your real experience of being alive. Because when you live in autopilot, you don't really live. You just reappear, like a memory, like a copy. And over time, even you don't recognize who you've become. That's the quiet tragedy. You go to sleep as yourself and wake up as your past. But there's a quiet hope too. Because if every forgotten moment is a kind of rebirth, then every remembered moment is a chance to live again. Not as who you were, but as who you truly are. And maybe that's where freedom begins. Not in changing your life overnight, but in changing the way you see the next moment. Chapter 3. You are living stories that aren't yours. Most people carry burdens they can't name. You might walk into a room and suddenly feel small, even when no one says a word. You might become anxious when things are quiet, or feel responsible for things far beyond your control. These patterns don't always come from your choices. Some of them were handed to you. It's strange to think about, but much of what we call ourselves may have started long before we were born. A grandmother who lost everything in war, a parent who learned not to speak up, a culture that told people to hide their tears. Their pain doesn't disappear. It quietly passes forward, like wind through trees, shaping thoughts, behaviors, and beliefs without ever asking permission. Science now confirms what the Buddha taught over 2,000 years ago. Pain can be inherited. Researchers in epigenetics have found that fear, trauma, and stress can actually change the way genes work. These changes don't rewrite the DNA code itself, but they leave instructions that get passed on. A child may be born with a body that remembers a tragedy their ancestors survived, even if no one ever spoke of it. In this way, you might be living out sadness that didn't begin with you. The Buddha pointed to this truth when he said, "All things arise without an owner." What does this mean? It means that the emotions, thoughts, and reactions you experience don't actually belong to a single person, not even you. Just like clouds in the sky, they appear, they move, and they pass. Your anger may have started generations ago. Your anxiety might be a song your culture has been humming for centuries. You didn't create these stories, but you are living inside them. Imagine this. You're holding a book with no title. You flip through the pages and recognize the characters, the scenes, the struggles. But you never chose this story. It was already halfway written when it reached your hands. Still, you keep turning the pages, acting as if you're the one who wrote them. That's what autopilot often is, a continuation of a script that doesn't match your voice. And yet, you don't have to rip the book apart. You don't even need to fight with it. Buddhism doesn't ask you to battle your past. It invites you to wake up in the present. This is the gentle part many people miss. To change these patterns, you don't need force. You need awareness. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" try asking, "Whose voice is this?" Instead of blaming yourself for old habits, see them for what they are. Echoes. Echoes can feel powerful, but they have no source of their own. Once you hear them clearly, they lose their hold. Breaking free doesn't mean rejecting your family, your culture, or your memories. It means you stop identifying with what never belonged to you in the first place. And when that happens, something opens. You realize you don't have to keep finishing a story someone else started. You can pause. You can look around. You can begin again. Without shame, without anger, without needing to fix anything. You may still feel the wind of old stories from time to time, but now, you know they are not you. They are just passing weather. And you, quiet, present, aware, you are the sky. Chapter 4. You don't need to fix yourself. You just need to return. Sometimes people think that waking up from autopilot means becoming someone better, more calm, more spiritual, more productive. But that belief itself is another trap. Wanting to improve yourself all the time can become just another form of distraction. You're not here to become perfect. You're here to return to what's already true, to see clearly what's here right now, without changing it. The Buddha didn't teach that we need to become someone else. He simply said, "When walking, know you are walking. When standing, know you are standing. That kind of awareness sounds simple, almost too simple, but it holds a quiet power. When you remember to notice, not analyze, not judge, just notice, something shifts. The same walk to work becomes different. The same cup of tea starts to feel warm again. Life returns to life. You don't have to fix your mind before you're allowed to be present. Even if your thoughts are chaotic, even if your body feels tired or your mood is low, you can still pause and ask, "Am I here now?" That one question is enough to break the spell. You don't need a perfect answer. You just need to ask. There's something interesting about science here too. In quantum physics, there's a strange truth. When something is observed, it changes. It's called the observer effect. The simple act of seeing a thing makes it different than before. Neuroscience says something similar. When you focus on one thought or feeling for just 17 seconds, with real attention, your brain begins to rewire. Awareness isn't just spiritual poetry. It's also physical. It changes your body. It builds new pathways, not by force, but by presence. But this kind of presence doesn't come from pressure. You don't need to force yourself to be mindful all day. That's not how it works. Presence comes when you stop trying so hard, when you drop the idea of becoming better and just allow yourself to return. Even your autopilot moments, they aren't failures. They're just signs that you wandered. That's all. No shame, no guilt, just a soft reminder. You forgot, and now you can remember. The practice isn't to fix the forgetting. It's to notice the returning. And the more gently you return, the more natural it becomes. You begin to trust that awareness is always nearby, not as a goal, but as a home. Even when the mind is noisy, even when the world is messy, you can still come back. Not because you're doing something special, but because you never really left. You just stopped paying attention. And when you do come back, something is waiting. Not a new version of you, not a smarter or calmer self. Just a quiet space, a breath, a pause. The present moment, patient, steady, real. It doesn't ask for improvement. It only asks you to show up. Chapter 5. Only presence can truly live your life. Some days, we live like ghosts. We walk, we talk, we eat, but we're not really there. Something else is moving our body, speaking with our mouth, making decisions for us. We're not living our life. We're just repeating it. The Buddha once said, "All things arise and pass away. The awakened stay awake forever." That line is simple, but it changes everything. He didn't say the awakened are perfect. He didn't say they never make mistakes. He said they stay awake. They remain present. Because that's the only place life actually happens. Thoughts come and go. Emotions come and go. But there is something that does not come and go. Your awareness. That stillness behind everything. The quiet space watching all the movements of your mind. When you are caught in autopilot, when your day feels like a blur, when you're jumping from one thing to the next, who is living that life? Nobody. Because without awareness, there is no experience. There is only habit, memory, repetition, like a tape playing itself, like a story with no reader. But when you are truly present, even for a second, life returns. You can feel the taste of your tea. You can see the light falling through the window. You can sense your body sitting, breathing, existing. And this presence is not something far away. It's not a skill you need to earn. It's not something only monks can find. It's already here. It just needs to be remembered. The German philosopher Heidegger once said, "Being is a choice made moment by moment." That's close to what the Buddha meant. Life isn't something fixed. There's no solid self. No one behind the curtain pulling the strings. There's only what you notice right now. The more you notice, the more you are here. And the more you are here, the more alive you feel. You don't need to believe anything. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to stop, once in a while, and return to this simple truth. I am here. That's all. No special ritual, no complicated teaching. You can try it today. Pause 3 times. It doesn't matter when. Morning, noon, night. Just stop. Breathe once. And softly whisper to yourself, I am here. That's not a command. It's a remembering. A reminder that you don't need to live like a machine. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up for your own life. Because no one else can live it. No one else can taste your food. No one else can feel your breath. No one else can hear your heartbeat in the dark. That presence, that awareness, is yours alone. And yet, strangely, it does not belong to you. The Buddha never said we have a fixed self. He said the opposite. There's no permanent me watching all this. There's just awareness. And that awareness is not personal. It's like the sky. It holds everything, but clings to nothing. So when you're present, you don't become more you. You become less trapped by you. You stop performing. You stop trying. You just live. And that's where freedom begins. No one lives your life on autopilot because there's no fixed you to live it. There's only this wide, silent, living presence, experiencing the world through your eyes, your hands, your breath. When you wake up, even for one breath, life stops happening to you. It starts happening through you.